Okay, welcome back. Welcome back to the live stream. We are back at it tonight, playing a little bit of a retro, throwback game. This is going to be Sleuth. I've never played this game. I wasn't even alive when this game came out, but we're going to give it a shot today. And you guys let me know whether or not you want to see more of this. As a reminder, I am terrible at video games. I always have been, and I always will be. But I still love them anyway. So I might need your help. If I get caught up here, feel free to sound off in the chat and let me know what I'm doing wrong. And if I need a hand, just offer it. Just offer it. We're not out here begging, but sometimes somebody needs a fellow needs a hand, and offering it's just way better than waiting for the request. Anyway, let me get my stream pulled up here. Feel free to sound off in the chat. So one second. So, we're going to get into it. We're going to get this bad boy started. So, before we do get started, of course, if you do enjoy the stream, please drop a like, hit that subscribe button, and turn on notifications so you never miss out when I go live or upload a new video. And sound off in the comments, sound off in the chat. Want to hear from all of you. So we're going to press any key to begin the game. Is this literally just a screenshot? Wait. What happened? There we go. Wait, is it also... Do you want to unmute it? We go full screen. All right. I don't think there is any sound. Turn up our volume here. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. Or that could be. I would assume that there is some kind of sound. Sleuth. Select the option of your choice. Basic sleuth, personalized sleuth, or review instructions. We're going to play it safe here and review these instructions. As you begin a game of Sleuth, a murder has just been committed. Your job is to mingle with the house guests and to search the contents of the house until you feel you have solved the crime. Every game of Sleuth is different, so you must fully explore the house each time that you play. You can move through the house by using the 4 cursor keys located on the numeric keypad. Be particularly careful when moving on the stairways, since you must change direction each time you move from one floor to another. You can search rooms, people, and objects by using simple phrases such as examine door, search Victoria, or look at jar. When you want to search or accuse a person, you only need to type in their first name. To get more information from the guests, you may question them. Or ask for their alibis. The characters tend to be rather moody and will not always answer your questions the first time around. They're also rather restless and will be moving around the house during the game. Okay. The murder weapon will be obvious as soon as you examine the correct object, though you will need to find the magnifying glass before you can really conduct an adequate search of the various objects. You probably should not get the weapon at first, since the murderer is likely to become nervous if you are carrying the evidence around with you. If you accidentally pick up the object at too early a point in the game, you can drop the weapon. But be forewarned, once dropped, there is no telling where the object might end up. Finding the scene of the murder tends to be somewhat difficult since it is rarely possible to examine every inch of the house with your magnifying glass. Fortunately for you, one of the keen-eyed guests will probably notice something amiss at some point during the game. To discover the murder room, you must pay close attention to the behavior of the guests. The murderer will be one person whose alibi contradicts the alibi is given by the other house guests. Be sure to keep track of everyone's story. Okay? Once you have discovered both the murderer and the murder room, you should hurry back to get the murder weapon. Hold on. Once you have discovered both the murderer and the murder room, you should hurry back to get the murder weapon, and then move as quickly as possible to the murder room. Gather the suspects together and accuse whoever you believe to be the guilty party. But be careful. The murderer is a very suspicious sort and may decide to get rid of you before you have a chance to take any accusations. Most of the strategy involved in playing Sleuth you will have to learn by playing the game. Since the game changes every time that you play, you should be sure to fully explore the house. They already told me this. Don't forget to explore the room, which has no obvious entrances, since the murderer often discards the murder weapon here. Also, the murder is occasionally committed in this room. The occupants will be moving about the house throughout the game. Become confused at any time about who is actually in the house, you can request a guest list. As your investigation proceeds, the murderer will begin to grow suspicious and will most likely start plotting your demise. If you have not figured out who the murderer is by this point in the game, your chances of survival are slim. Be careful. To make things a little more interesting, you can populate the house with people that you already know. Just select the personalize option at the beginning of the game, and the computer will prompt you for the names of 7 people, 6 suspects, and 1 victim. Sleuth uses a fairly limited vocabulary, so only 1 or 2 words should be necessary to communicate your intentions. If you like, you can abbreviate question as Q or examine as X. If you are having difficulties, you can get a summary of these instructions by typing help. You may also quit or restart at any time during the game. To get a hard copy of these instructions, just hit the print screen key as each page is shown to you. When you exit from these instructions, you should be all set to enter the world of Sleuth. Good luck. P.S. You cannot use the 4 cursor keys while you are typing in other information. To clear the message line on the bottom of the screen, simply use the backspace key or escape key. Okay. That was a lot. That was a lot. But it's fine. I won't be able to remember that, but I'm sure that there are other ways. There are ways to reference that. Personalized sleuth. I don't want to do that. No, wait, come back. Wait, how do you go back? Wait, how do you go back? Hold on, I might go back. Game page. I don't want to put in a bunch of stuff. Don't want to put in a bunch of stuff. Let's just launch the game. Full screen it. Let's go back. Actually, I want to unmute it. Wait, is it currently mute? Mute. Mute. Whatever. Anyway, I don't think there's any sound in the game. So we're gonna start it off. Go ahead and start off. Daryl Winston was brutally murdered only hours ago. The body was removed by persons unknown from the murder scene. You are now standing at the front door of the Winston estate. The door is open. Okay. Enter. Wait, what? Go in? No. Enter the building. Enter. Step inside. Wait. Hold on. What? What the fuck is happening? Hold on. Hold on. Wait, can I not go back? How do I go back? Oh my god. Wait. How do I go back? How do I go back? What are you trying to say? Wait. Oh. God. Oh, you can move your character. This is interesting. All right. So you're standing on the front lawn. The grounds are immaculately groomed. So you're standing at the west entrance to the house. Standing on the front lawn. The grounds are immaculately groomed, though you have some difficulty seeing anything since it is storming heavily. Okay. Oh, so you okay? I got it. I got it. These stairs lead up to the west wall. I was getting ahead of myself there for a second. Heading up these stairs lead up to the west hall. The steps are made of marble slabs. Okay. You are walking through the west hall. The walls are are papered, are papered in a tasteful floral design. Okay, so we're in the west hall. This doorway leads into the master bedroom. You are now in the master bedroom. A Scandinavian bed dominates the room. A teak dresser spans the west wall. A jewel-encrusted mirror lies at the foot of the bed. Harriet Seton is admiring the craftsmanship of the dresser. Okay. Ah. Hello. Okay. Fine. Perhaps I just don't understand what you're looking for, but I don't see anything like that around here. Okay. All right. So, uh, wait. So, what are they called? What are the prompts? There are prompts, I believe, right? Hi. Okay. Who are you? I don't know. What's up? Uh, I need some music. I need some music for this. Hold on. Let me get a little bit of royalty-free action on the back end here. Open up a second YouTube. Hmm. Why can't I open a second? Oh, I'll have to open up another browser. Give it a second. Some low synthwave. Some low synthwave. Sure.
If you're so profitable, why do you sell a course? Well, you know what? Here you go. I don't care. It's all.
You know what, dude? Don't make me sign into my personal YouTube account where there's no ads. That's loud. There, that's doable. All right. That way I'm not just like talking to myself. No sound, nothing else going on. WSD doesn't work, does it? No, it doesn't. What? Wait, I can't move anymore. Can't type anymore. All right. We got a new story here. We're going to work with this one. John Donlevy was brutally murdered only hours ago. The body was removed by persons unknown from the murder scene. You are now standing at the front door of the Donlevy estate. The door is open. Okay. So the door is open. We go inside. These stairs lead up to the west hall. Steps are made of marble slabs. Is this the same? Like, is the house... Does it not matter at all? Like, the story changes, but the house stays the same, yeah? Is that an accurate understanding of how this works? Okay. So I guess I don't need my mouse hand for this. Marble slabs. You are walking through the west hall. The walls are papered in a tasteful floral design. They said it changes every single time you play it. I'm not seeing that. Does a person also appear when I enter this door? Enter the master bedroom? Yes, you are now in the master bedroom. A Scandinavian bed dominates the room. A teak dresser spans the west wall. An antique alarm clock sits next to the bed, and Daryl Winston lies on the bed, deep in thought. Hello. Okay. Not sure how anybody's supposed to play this. I'm gonna be completely honest. Also, there's these like narrow rooms Like, what is that room to the left there? Or presumably the east? This door leads into the vault. Oh, you are standing in the family vault. A large safe is pushed against the back wall. A roll-top desk stands next to the safe. A hammer lies beside the safe. There are many dents on the front of the safe. Okay. What should I type in? Inspect? Okay. Examine. Perhaps I just don't understand what you're looking for, but I don't see anything like that around here. Okay. This doorway leads to the parlor. You have entered the parlor. A large sofa sits in the middle of the room. You can see the front lawn through the window. A brandy snifter sits on the coffee table. Harriet Seton lies on the sofa, napping peacefully. Okay. Okay, Harriet. So Harriet is... Harriet's... Wait, where'd Harriet go? Entered the parlor. A large sofa sits in the middle of the room. Window, a brandy snifter sits on the coffee table. No more Harriet. Where did Harriet go? Daryl Winston lies on the bed, deep in thought. He's still in there. So I might as well just, like, check out all the spots. Oh, somebody's in the vault now. William Seton turns from the safe, shocked to see you. Okay. Lightly replies, I spent the entire evening with Margaret in the dining hall. We were working on some private matters the whole time. Frankly, I have no idea what the other guests were doing when John was murdered. Is that so? Really? Interesting. Question. William thinks a moment and says, as I said, the last time you asked, Margaret and I spent the entire evening in the dining hall. That's all that I can think of to say. This motherfucker did it. This guy did it. Pretty certain of that. Hold on. I need to bring up like prompts. I have no idea what words I can write and which ones I can't. New window. Sleuth prompts. No, sleuth game prompts. No, like what words can I use? Okay, unscramble 60s, unscramble letters, sleuth game. No. What words can I use to question people in the 1983 video game Sleuth? Question or alibi, followed by the character's first name, question or cue, alibi, S. Perhaps character, general information, alibi, for example, question, Margaret, or cue, Margaret, alibi, Carlotta, If you'd like, you can share a list of other basic um, other basic sleuth commands. You know what? List of commands. Cursor keys. Move up, down, left, right through the two-story mansion. Note on stairs, you must change your direction explicitly when transitioning between floors on stairways. I don't really know what that means. If I'm honest. Eggs for examine, search person, room feature, or container. Okay. I'm going to type in search here. Perhaps I just don't understand what you're looking for, but I don't see anything like that around here. Okay. Let me make out what you're trying to say. Okay. Roll up this. Turns from a safe shot. Let's see. Seems annoyed, but answers, must you ask all these questions? I spent the evening with Margaret in the dining hall. Well, sir, I guess we will have to see if your alibi holds up. Actually, I want to accuse. I don't care. Gather. I don't care. All right, fine. Q. Answers, will you pay attention? I spent the evening with Margaret. Oh, how'd you make it? Now you're over here, Williams. Okay, so William Stetson has now moved from here. Can't hear you from all the way over there. Okay. Margaret and I spent the entire evening together in the ballroom, so I'm sure you can't help you with your investigation. You might want to check with Carlotta, though. There's one person who had everything to gain by John's untimely demise. I'm not gonna ask them for their alibi again. Is there a time limit on this? I'm curious if there's a time limit. Okay. Well, William Seton. So all these questions spent the evening with Margaret and Dinah. Wait. You all of you guys spent the evening with Margaret? Alright, so Quelly locks the door behind you as you enter the vault. Let me satisfy your curiosity, Inspector. I killed John in the same sewing room with the model train, and now I intend to dispose of you. Goodbye, Inspector. False. No. Oh, wait. Am I just dead now? Oh, I guess I'm dead. What? What? Restart. Earl Crompton was brutally murdered only hours ago. The body was moved by persons unknown from the murder scene. You are now standing at the front of the door of the Crompton estate. The door is open. Okay. You are walking down the main hall. The walls are covered with a variety of old master paintings. What is an old master painting? Lower steps of the staircase. The oak steps are highly polished and somewhat slippery. One of the steps creaks rather loudly. You are walking through the upstairs hall. Discreet oriental silk screens decorate the walls. Okay. Into the study. You are standing in a well-appointed study. Many papers are strewn about. Unlike the other rooms in this house, the study appears very lived in. An empty pewter mug sits on top of the desk. Okay. Okay, so I guess we'll go to the next one. Oh, I see. So this is like the basement, I think. This is the master bedroom. A canopied bed dominates the room. To one side of the bed is a beautifully hand-carved dresser. A magnifying glass is lying on the floor. Okay. And where is said magnifying glass? Doesn't show me where that magnifying glass is. Can't take it, right? Get? No. Okay. We'll move on to the next room. This is the entrance to the bathroom. The murderer is now stalking you. Oh, really? Maud Crompton quietly locks the door behind you as you enter the bathroom. Let me satisfy your curiosity, Inspector. I killed Earl in the bedroom with the potted fern, and now I intend to dispose of you. Goodbye, Inspector. Okay. And now I'm dead. Alright, I guess you start. Chelsea, if you're watching this game sucks. You have entered the living room. A large divan, I don't know what that is, sits in the middle of the room. Many overstuffed chairs are arranged around the edge of the room. A bronze statuette sits on the coffee table. Victoria Crompton is lounging on the divan, reading a newspaper. Angrily and hisses, "Why don't you mind your own business?" Okay. I guess we could do that. No. Alright. Gonna head out of there. Search. Okay. You are now in the dining room. A large oak table dominates the room. A silver serving set sits on a smaller table in one corner of the room. A magnifying glass is lying on the floor. David Maloney is supping at the dining room table. Supping? I haven't heard that term in a while. Question. David laughs lightly and replies, "Maud and I spent the entire evening together in the kitchen. So I guess I missed out on my chance to be the prime suspect, didn't I? It's such a shame. I would so enjoy being suspected of murder. What a weird thing to be hopeful, to relish, to like enjoy. Like, you want to go through the process of being suspected of murder? That's insane, my guy. So, I mean, that's clearly like a suspicious admission. So, David turns slowly and responds, I've already told you once. Maud and I spent the entire evening in the kitchen. I can't think of anything else to add. Okay, well, then I guess I'll go looking for a murder weapon. You are in a spacious kitchen. A large butcher's block table sits in the middle of the room. The walls are lined with bright brass pots and pans. A frozen leg of lamb is thawing on the table. Okay. You are standing in a pantry. The shelves are filled with a dazzling array of imported delicates. A can of vicious protrudes from one of the shelves. Esther Brisbane is rummaging through the foodstuffs. Okay. Esther replies in an angry voice, Earl and I spent the entire evening together in the study. And I'm glad Gerald's dead. I would have done it myself if I had the chance. So don't expect any help from me, Inspector. Okay. Well, you guys are contradicting each other, and that, to me, might as well be an admission of guilt. Conservatory, a baby grand piano sits on a mink throw rug. An oboe lies nestled in the throw rug. Earl Crompton is staring at the floor. Wait. Were you Maud Crompton? Wait. Alright, he's gone now. Spent the entire evening with in the studies. I don't think you're wasting your time here with me, Inspector. A little investigation of boost by checking out Victoria's story. Yeah, well, I'm working on it. Okay. Standing in the guest room, the room is decorated in tasteful oriental style. It looks rather barren. A marble egg is perched on the edge of the night table. Esther Brisbane is hiding behind the door. Not sus. Esther turns angrily and hisses, Why don't you mind your own business? Whatever, dude. Comfortably furnished library shelves are lined with a large selection of dusty books. An unabridged dictionary sits on the table in the middle of the room. Master bathroom. Marble fixtures adorn the room. A large jar of cold ice cream lies open on the vanity. Maud Crompton is gazing rapidly at the mirror. I spent the entire evening with David in the kitchen, so while you're not exactly grieving over Gerald's, somebody have the opportunity to have killed anyone. Okay, well. Master bedroom. Canopied bed dominates the room. One side of the bed is beautifully hand-carved dresser. Gold gilt mirror lies by the side of the bed. Edward Brisbane is looking underneath the bed. What's up, Ed? Turns from you and murmurs, I spent the entire evening alone in the library, and I'm afraid that nobody saw me. But I hope you're not so silly as to suspect me of a crime. Why, I hardly knew Gerald, and I certainly had no reason to commit murder. I mean, does anybody actually know that's true? Um, I don't know how I call everybody. Everything is spending with my location. All right, cool. Yeah. So not entirely sure how I call everybody in. Staring at the floor. Look. I think it was Earl. How does one gather all the... Hold on, let me check. Fuck off. Ah, I guess I just typed gather. I know I haven't found the murder weapon. What do you want me to do about that? Middle of the room. No, I don't wanna. I don't wanna. Cause wait, was he? Not sure where he was. I need to like take notes for this game in order to, you know, do it. Murder's now stalking you. He's to the study. I think he was. Did he died in the study? Yes. A large brass plaque hangs behind the desk. I wish I could tell where the desk was. Say, look. Take. Get. Search. Like that around here. David Malone. I'm looking for here. Get. Take. Eggs. Well, I'm being hunted. Whoa. What? Victoria Crompton. Quietly locks the door behind you as you enter the living room. Let me satisfy your curiosity, Inspector. I killed Gerald in the conservatory with the brass plaque, and now I intend to dispose of you. Okay, so it was in the conservatory, and it was the brass plaque. But, like... I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. But like, you have to be able to. Oh wait, do I have to literally go one block at a time and search? Well, let's restart. Margaret, Don. So they say it's different every time, but it's barely different every time. This is like the original procedurally generated game, except there's no procedures that it generates. Margaret Donlevy was brutally murdered only hours ago. The body was removed by persons unknown from the murder scene. You are now standing at the front door of the Donlevy estate. The door is open. All right, I need help. There's nobody watching, but if somebody decides to watch, somebody decides to watch, please help. Please help me. Somebody help me. All right. So this will enter. They're always made of marble slabs, apparently. You have entered the parlor. A large sofa sits in the middle of the room. You can see the front lawn through the window. A brandy snifter sits on the coffee table. Harriet Seton is lounging on the sofa reading a newspaper. Question. Forces a laugh and replies, I spent the entire evening with John in the parlor. Wait, aren't we in the parlor? I've already told you that, John. I spent the entire evening in the parlor. That's all I can think to say. Okay. Master bedroom, Scandinavian bed, spans the west wall, a backgammon set sits gathering dust in one corner of the room. Vanessa Shore is lying on the bed. Question. Replies distractedly, I spent the entire evening alone in the parlor. I realize that's not much of an alibi, but you must believe me when I say that I had no reason to kill Margaret. No reason at all. Alright, so Vanessa did it. She's lying. She has no legitimate alibi. Family vault, large safe, pushed against the wall, roll top desk, stands next to the safe, brass piggy bank sits on top of the desk. Pushed against the back wall. Large safe is pushed against the back wall. Is that north or is that east? Sits next to the safe. A brass piggy bank sits on top of it. So let me pull up that instruction again. What's the prompt? Oh no, I don't want to open my mail. Fuck off. Okay. Oh. Oh, it's broken. It's broken now. Alright, let's try this again. Alright. Another one. They're all the same. It doesn't matter. William Sutton brutally murdered hours ago. Body was removed. Unknown persons from the murder scene. Standing at the front door. Sutton estate door is open. Cool. Leads to the parlor. I've entered the parlor. Large sofa sits in the middle of the room. You can see the front lawn through the window. Simple black telephone sits on the table next to the suit. Okay. Master bedroom. Jewel encrusted mirror lies in the front. Lies at the foot of the bed. John Donlevy is searching behind the dresser. Q. Turns swiftly and answers, Vanessa and I spent the entire evening together in the dining hall, so don't you think you're wasting your time here with me, Inspector? Why don't you give your little investigation a boost by checking out Daryl's story? Okay, we can do that. We can do that. Margaret Donlevy is searching through the drawers of the desk. Many holes in the safe. An electric drill lies on the floor. There are many holes in the safe. Margaret Donlevy is searching through the drawers of the desk. She's clearly suspicious. So we'll ask her a question. Stares defiantly at you. I spent the entire evening alone in the vault. Now, I suppose it looks bad for me, doesn't it? But you must believe that I could never have hurt anyone, and I certainly couldn't have killed William. I just couldn't. Let's ask you again. As I told you before, I spent the entire evening alone in the vault, like the most suspicious thing to do in the world. I can't think of anything else to add. Okay, all right. Well, can we... I want to find what that says. What did that say again? Search. Perhaps I just don't understand looking for it. I don't see anything like that around here. You, man. Search. I think you literally have to go block by block. Get. Okay. So we'll go on to the next space, which is you have entered the ballroom. Room is bare except for a bandstand. At the west of the room, a crystal chandelier hangs overhead. A papier-mâché mask has been discarded in an empty corner of the room. Vanessa Shore is practicing some waltz steps. Okay. Draws you closer with whispers. Closer and whispers. I spent the entire evening with John in the dining hall, so it's obvious that I didn't kill William. Now why don't you let me be? Okay, well. Yeah. Not sure. Like Luke Wilson, I am not sure. You are standing in the sewing room. Many overstuffed chairs sit in a circle in the center of the room. An iron sits on a table in one corner of the room. John Donlevy is staring at the floor. Okay, John. Let's ask. I've already told you that Vanessa and I spent evening in the dining hall. That's all I can think to say. He's pissed. Yes, in fact, I must. Ooh, who are you? I'm with French British papers. Yes. Carlotta does not. Well, you will eventually, sneers wickedly. Realize it's been in this area in the parlor. But tell you, William was better than a little more present over so okay. Whatever, dude. Dining hall, long teak table runs from one end of the room to the other. They love teak in this game. A wet bar sits near the entrance to the room. A blue vase sits in the center of the table. Margaret Dunleavy is attempting to make a drink at the bar. Yes. We're going to ask again. Yes. Yeah, you were being weird in the fucking vault. Very suspicious, if you ask me. The kitchen room is equipped to handle large cooking table. The place museum jar preserves balanced precariously on one of the shelves. Butler's bedroom. Room is decorated in simple but tasteful manner. Search. Something like tells me that these aren't working. These prompts aren't working very well. Enter the bathroom. A hot tub occupies one corner of the room. A large mirror covers the east wall. Magnifying glass is lying on the floor. Vanessa Shore turns from the vanity, shocked to see you. Yes. As I told you before, John and I spent the entire evening in the dining hall. That's all I can think of to say. Yes, but where is... Your mom hasn't found the murder weapon, alright? Search. Examine. I don't remember where he was murdered. Oh my god, Daryl Winston. Let me satisfy your curiosity. I killed William in the master bedroom with the jar of preserves, and now I with a jar of preserves. What? How is that even fucking possible? How do you kill somebody with a jar of preserves? And then the jar of preserves is somehow not like what you like break the jar, slit somebody's throat, but then you have a broken jar. The jar that I found was just sitting precariously on like a counter. Also, I couldn't find the like restart. Help. Help. Addition to the question about taste and clothing style, it's not something I would wear normally, but okay, whatever. Deal with it later. We'll deal with it later. I have no interest in creating a personalized sleuth. So we'll go again. Wait, why does it jump over that so quickly? Whatever. Same thing. Somebody's dead. Where did he die? Removed. Body was removed by persons unknown from the murder scene. You are now standing at the front door of the Crompton estate. Doors open. Okay. We are standing at the front door of the Crompton estate. And yet, we don't know where he died. Wait, can I I'm going to restart. I'm going to restart again. Maybe it tells me right at the very beginning. Whatever. Move by persons unknown, murder scene is standing in front of it. Alright. So, we go in. Entrance to the conservatory. Grand piano sits on a mink throw rug. A marble bust of Beethoven sits on top of the piano. I'm going to assume that the marble bust, I mean, that sounds like a good murder weapon. I do believe. How long until somebody comes in here? No. Okay. I feel like I'm missing something here. I need to do some research here. Discover. I just typed in, how the hell do I discover the murder weapon and room? Do I have to have the magnifying glass? Do I have to be standing on top of the murder weapon or whatever? I'm lost. It's because I am. I'm so lost. It's completely understandable. I feel lost. Sleuth is a product of 1983 game. Assignment is incredibly unforgiving, lacks helpful UI prompts, and relies on precise mechanics that aren't explained well. You do not need to stand on top. That's what I want to know. How do you kill somebody with strawberry preserves? I have no fucking clue. I'm so confused. This game this game makes no sense. Finally, absolutely must use the magnifying glass to discover both the room and the weapon. Without it, you are exactly how the mechanics work to get you unstuck. Must get the magnifying glass first. You cannot solve the case without it. At the very start of the game, search the mansion's rooms, closets, and furniture until you find it. Stand near furniture and type search closet, search desk, search refrigerator. Once found, oh wow, okay. So you actually like literally have to type in the thing that you want to search. You don't just type in search. Take magnifying glass. Take magnifying glass or get magnifying glass. How to find the murder room. All right. Slowly figuring this shit out. Piece by piece, bit by bit. All right. Mink. Oh, I see. Search bust. Not the bust of Beethoven, but then it's hard to find any incriminating evidence without a magnifying glass. Oh, that's super annoying. Okay. Doorway leads into the living room. You have entered the living room. A large divan sits in the middle of the room. Is the divan like a chaise or something like that? Or like a daybed? Many overstuffed chairs are arranged around the edge of the room. A magnifying glass is lying on the floor. Oh, thank God. Get magnifying glass. You're now carrying the magnifying glass. Sweet. All right, so on to the next. Search bust. Run-of-the-mill marble bust. Got it. Okay. You're now in the dining room. A large oak table dominates the room. A silver serving set sits on a smaller table in one corner of the room. A wooden pepper mill sits in the middle of the table. David Malone is staring at the floor. Q. Why don't you mind your own business? I'm just going to keep asking you, you little dumb asshole. I've already told you once, Earl and I spent... No, you didn't, actually. You didn't. You evaded the question. Don't put that shit on me. Earl and I spent the entire evening in the study. I can't think of anything else to add. Fine. Baby back bitch. Search. What was it? Table. Nothing unusual about the table. Search. Pepper mill. Examine pepper mill. A smaller table. We do love smaller tables in this household, so let's search this smaller table. Okay, whatever. Moving on. You're in a spacious, I almost said suspicious kitchen. You're in a spacious kitchen. A large butcher's block table sits in the middle of the room. The walls are lined with bright brass pots and pans. A silver bottle opener lies on the table. Search bottle opener. Appears to get a great deal of use. Okay, examine bottle opener. Okay, so it gets a great deal of use. Search pots. They aren't used very often. Okay. Search table. Okay. What about this? Pantry. Standing in the pantry. The shelves are filled with a dazzling array of imported delicacies. A jar of caviar sits on the top shelf. Search caviar. Traces of blood on it. How is a fucking bottle of caviar a murder weapon? Okay. Well, let's go ahead and find him. It's Earl Crampton, I should say. Oh, whoa! I passed somebody on the stairs. Who is it? Earl Crampton. In a great hurry. Okay. Here, David in the study. Obviously, I didn't kill Maud. Why don't you let me be? Oh, you feeling like a sad boy? Oh, baby sad boy. Esther Brisbane is pacing back and forth. A marble egg is perched on the edge of the night table. Examine egg. Purely decorative. Alright, let's go talk to Maud. Shrugs nonchalantly, said, I spent the entire evening with Edward in the kitchen. I guess this thing is quite a mess. Inspector, don't you think you ought to be running along now? I suggest check on Victoria's. Well, yeah, you're making yourself mighty suspicious. Strewn about papers, well appointed study. Unlike other rooms in the house, the study appears very lived in. Granite paperweight sits on top of some papers on the desk. Edward Brisbane is staring at the floor. Examine paper. Nothing. Okay. Let's question him. Spent the entire evening with Esther in the kitchen. But let me tell you that I'm glad Maud was murdered. Life will be just a little more pleasant for all of us now. Comfortably furnished library, the shelves are lined with a large section of dusty books. An oak reading stand sits in the middle of the room. We are now standing in the master bathroom. Marble pictures adorn the room. A large jar of cold cream lies open on the vanity. David Malone is gazing raptly at the mirror. Fuck off, dude. I don't give a shit. You're gonna answer my questions. Standing in the master bedroom, But you're curious. I spent the evening with Earl in the study. I can't keep track of everybody's stories here, you know? I'm not gonna lie. Master bedroom canopy bed dominates the room. To one side of the bed is a beautifully hand-carved dresser. An empty bottle of champagne sticks out from under the bed. Search bed. Cool. Search or examine. Bottle of Chateau Rothschild, 1966. Ooh, great vintage. Search dresser. It's very obviously very high quality. Okay, cool. What have we here? Dude! Victoria, I didn't even get to talk to you. This game's bullshit, man. This game makes no sense. I'm genuinely so confuzzled by the whole thing. Like I wasn't even able to get through the whole fuck you, Vicky. Restart. At least we're figuring it out, though. We're figuring it out. It's slow, but it's happening. Oh, look. There's a kitten. There's a kitten confused about what greenery is. Hello, kitten. Are you... Oh, you can't really see. Can't see little kitten babe. I heard you. I hear you. I hear you, cat. Oh my god, those... I didn't even realize I've got... Oh, you probably can't see. Yeah, you can't see. Oh well. Speak again, cat. Say words. Do you wanna help me try and figure out how to play this This classic murder mystery. Duh. Oh, you want 4-foot fucks. Sorry, man. It's not the time. Not the time for that. Close those legs of yours. Ain't nobody want to see that. All right. Anyway. John Donlevy was brutally murdered only hours ago. The body was removed by persons unknown from the murder scene. You are now standing at the front door of the Donlevy estate. The door is open. Steps are made yet again of marble slabs. All right. In the sewing room, many overstuffed chairs sit in a circle in the center of the room. A steel needlepoint frame lies innocently on one of the chairs. Carlotta Winston is looking underneath the chair cushions. Let's ask Carlotta what she has to say about herself. Carlotta laughs slightly and replies, Margaret and I spent the entire evening together in the butler's room. I didn't even find out about John's death until right before you arrived. Isn't it awful? Who do you think could do such a thing? Well, it might be you. Might be you. Let's actually search frame. Doesn't look like, of course, without the oh, that's right. I gotta find this stupid fucking magnifying glass. Love how I need a magnifying glass to look at something. So, simple black telephone on the desk on the sofa. Daryl Winston's lying on the sofa. Right. So let's ask you, Daryl, what's going on? Entire evening alone in the parlor. And I didn't hear or see anything while I was there. I can't imagine what could have happened. You can't imagine? You sure about that? You sure about that? You sure about that? Teak dresser spans the west wall. Jewel encrusted mirror lies at the foot of the bed. Let's usual about the jewel mirror. Yeah, that's right. Electric drill, many holes. William Seton. Ask him. Harriet in the ballroom. Don't you think you're wasting your time with me here, Inspector? Fuck you, Daryl. I'm coming for your ass. Enter the ballroom. The room is bare except for a bandstand at the west end of the room. Crystal chandelier hangs overhead. Paper mache mask has been discarded in an empty corner of the room. Okay, well, can't do anything until I find this dumb magnifying glass. Take magnifying glass. Yes. Oh. Progress. Question. I've already told you that I spent the entire evening alone in the parlor. It's all that I can think to say. Okay, that's fine. Butler's room. Room is decorated in a simple but tasteful manner. Furniture is rather worn. A pewter Jefferson cup sits on the nightstand. Carlotta Winston is staring at the floor. As I said the last time you asked, Margaret and I spent the entire evening in the butler's room. Okay, so the butler's room is up there. Wait. Search. Cup. Search. Nightstand. Fuck off. Search. Bed. Search under bed. No. Okay, whatever. Look at that handle. Family seems to place great importance on fine cuisine. A bright brass pot hangs from the ceiling. Daryl Winston is staring at the floor. Let's ask Daryl. Okay. Wait, Daryl. Oh god, I can't remember who it was that was there last. Oh wait, hold on. Search or examine. Pot. What? What's happening? What just happened? Dude, this keyboard I have is fucking awesome, but it has the stupidest placement of the like screen capture button. It's like right next to the backspace, and every time I go to hit backspace, I hit it. What was I doing? Oh, examine hot. So shiny, you can see yourself in it. Okay. All right. We're just gonna go to the dining hall. Search table. Nothing unusual. Wet bar. Search bar. Bar's closed for the evening. Search vase. Quite heavy. All right, cool. Wait, what was in here? To the bathroom. Examine. You can see yourself in it. No way. Oh my god, are you fucking kidding? Ah! Kill John in the kitchen with the needle point frame. What are these murder weapons? Like, what are they? What are these murder weapons? There's no way that these are real murder weapons, right? All right. Norland Software. Okay. I wonder what Eric N. Miller is doing right now. I'm going to do a little search. We're going to search the webs for Eric N. Miller and Norland Software. Pixelated Arcade. Okay. Eric N. Miller author page at DOS Games. Norland Software. Huh. So I guess the guy who made this launched the website, made this game, launched a website that essentially just web emulates a bunch of old DOS games. Interesting. All right, cool. Well, thanks for your contribution to society, Eric. We appreciate you. Yeah. Not sure why that's not working. Whatever. All right, next time. I'm going to get one of these. At some point or another, I will get one of these. All right. Next. Next up. Next round. What do we have? What do we have this time? Esther Brisbane was brutally murdered only hours ago. The body was removed by persons unknown from the murder scene. You are now standing at the front door of the Brisbane estate. The door is open. All right. Conservatory. I'm not even going to ask anybody anything until I find the magnifying glass. Imagine the murder weapon this time is the frozen quail. Vichyssoise? Is that what that word is? I'm not familiar with that word. Yeah, we already went down that route. It's either the frozen quail or it's this jar of cold cream. That's the murder weapon. Where is the am I missing it? Where is the magnifying glass? Murderer has grown suspicious of my investigation. Really? Oh, wood pepper mill. Frozen quail. Nice thing on the table. Dude, where is it? Antique oil lamp. It appears where I lived in. Large brass plaque. Dude, there's literally not a single. There isn't even a fucking thing. Let's take a magnifying glass. Yeah, I know you don't. It's not in any of these rooms. Take magnifying glass. I know I already died. I'm already murdered. The murder suspect, the murderer murdered me before I can even find the magnifying glass. This is by far the worst performing stream I think I've ever done. I don't think I've ever seen this few people for this long. Restart. Brutally murdered only hours ago. The body was removed. Persons unknown from the murder scene. You are now standing at the front door of the Don Levy estate. The door is open. Cool. We have entered, standing in the sewing room, overstuffed, yada yada, reading lamps and the chairs, when in the store, pacing the room, apparently agitated. All right, whatever, man. Let's see what you have to say. Spent the entire evening with Daryl in the vault. Also not a suspicious place at all to spend the entire evening. We got your work cut out for you on this one, Inspector. None of us cared much for John, and that's the truth. Frankly, whoever did it deserves a medal. God, you're all culpable. You're all horrendously culpable. You have entered the parlor. A large sofa sits in the middle of the room. You can see the front lawn through the window. Antique silver teapot sits at the next table in the sofa. Okay. Roll top desk. Brass piggyback sits on top of the desk. Safe is pushed somewhere. Yada yada. I'm really still just looking for that. Looking for that magnifying glass. Ask Margaret what's up. Sneers wickedly. I spent the entire evening alone in the butcher's room, or the butler's room. I didn't hear or see anything while I was in there. Can't imagine what could have happened. Okay. Check the vaults. Oh yeah, we were just in here. Ballroom, bear, crystal chandelier, mask. These are all really the same everything. Section of the hall is lined with French impressionist paint. I'm staring longingly at the paintings. What about this one? Entire evening of Vanessa in the vault. Disappointing, my alibi is airtight. And I'm sick and tired of trying to prove my innocence to everyone in this house. Sure, I despise John. I'm not the murderer. Not a murderer. Decorated in a simple but tasteful manner. The furniture is rather worn, pewter gem. Thank you. Fucking finally. Okay. Long table. Search table. Nothing unusual. Search bar. Murder is suspicious. Handle large cooking tests. Examine pot. Okay. Butler's room. So now we're back in the butler's room. Yeah, whatever. What do we have over here? Yeah, we already searched that one. Likeness of the Grim Reaper. Take mask. Not much point in taking it. Okay, fine. Fuck you! Fuck you! Oh my fucking god! Fuck this game. Fuck this game. Killed John in the kitchen with the backgammon set, and now I intend to dispose of you. Goodbye, Inspector. Fine. Fuck you. Fuck this shit. Alright, hold on. We're gonna go again. Like it just doesn't give you much time to like figure things out. It's I'm not sure if it's time based or if it's like move based. Like, you know, like you only have a certain number of moves before you get trapped and yourself murdered. But I guess there's only way to figure that out, and that's to play the game for hours until I can like weed out chances of that not being true. You know, like an old timey investigator, we're gonna smoke through this one, and by smoke I mean vape. All right, going into the estate. Doorway leads to the parlor. You've entered a parlor, or the parlor. A large sofa sits in the middle of the room. You can see the front lawn through the window. A brandy snifter sits on the coffee table. Let's check out the vault. Yes. Cool. So now, search desk. There's nothing that's any of your business on the desk. Okay, alright, fine. Okay. So let's ask her. Harriet and I spent the entire evening together in the parlor, and I'm glad John's dead. I wouldn't have done it myself if I had, or I would have done it myself if I had had the chance, so don't expect any help from me, Inspector. Search Margaret. What? Smudged with lipstick. Okay. Alright, so there's multiple words to use for the same thing. So I could write search or examine, and they both do the same thing. Let's check out the ballroom. Search. And. Okay. Search. Chandelier. Okay. Search violin. Stradivarius, okay. Okay. Bathroom. Cool. Shampoo seems to be some herbal formula. A shattered bottle. Okay. It's quite heavy. Search shell. Okay. Flask is empty. Okay. Hmm. Oh my god. I'm gonna fucking lose my mind. I'm gonna lose my goddamn mind. I've been at this for almost 2 hours. And I haven't won a single one. I don't think it's possible. I don't think it's fucking possible. Restart. Hey, let's do it again. Vanessa this time was brutally murdered only hours ago. The body was removed by persons unknown from the murder scene. You are now standing at the front door of the Shore estate. The door is open. And we go ahead and enter. You're standing in the sewing room. Many overstuffed chairs sit in a circle in the center of the room. A reading lamp stands next to one of the chairs. John Donlevy is looking underneath the chair cushions. So, John, what say you? John replies haughtily. Carlotta and I spent the entire evening together in the sewing room. So, as you can see, I have a perfect alibi. And if you ask me, the only likely murderer in this household is that sniveling sycophant Margaret. Enough said. Let's ask him again. Okay, so he and Carlotta spent the entire evening in the sewing room. Riveting shit. Riveting shit. You've entered the parlor. A large sofa sits in the middle of the room. You can see the front lawn through the window. A simple black telephone sits on a table next to the sofa. Okay. Standing in the family vault, a large safe is pushed against the back wall. A roll-top desk stands next to the safe. A hammer lies beside the safe. There are many dents on the front of the safe. Yet Harriet Seton is attempting to pick the lock on the desk. Oh, suspicious much? What do you have to say for yourself, Harriet? Harriet answers in an annoyed voice. Carlotta and I spent the entire evening together in the kitchen, so I'm sure I can't help you with your investigation. You might want to check with William, though. There's one person who had everything to gain by Vanessa's untimely demise. Okay. You are now in the master bedroom. A Scandinavian bed dominates the room. A teak dresser spans the west wall. A jewel-encrusted mirror lies at the foot of the bed. Nothing. What have we in the ballroom? You've entered the ballroom. The room is bare except for a bandstand at the west end of the room. A crystal chandelier hangs overhead. A magnifying glass is lying on the floor. So let's take magnifying glass. And I am now carrying said magnifying glass. Can I go back here? Because I couldn't really do anything from before. Examine safe. Okay. Examine desk. Okay. Let's examine Harriet. Let's ask Daryl what's up. Daryl sneers wickedly and replies, I spent the entire evening alone in the sewing room. Aha! So I guess I'm your prime suspect, Inspector. But I think you're going to find that I didn't have a reason to murder Vanessa. But you see, like, none of you, in this format at least, do. I haven't seen a single instance of somebody having a motive. You have entered the bathroom. A hot tub occupies the corner of the room. A large mirror covers the east wall. A soap tray sits next to the jacuzzi. Harriet Seton is lounging in the hot tub. Sounds nice. Let's ask you what's up. Harriet turns slowly and responds, as I said the last time you asked, Carlotta and I spent the entire evening in the kitchen. Nope, that's not what you said the last time. I can't think of anything else to add. So let's examine soap tray. Examine hot tub. What are you talking about? I don't have enough any spare time. All right. Examine floor. All right. Butler's room. Daryl is back. Let's ask Daryl what's up. Entirely in the sewing room. That's all I can think of to say. Examine cup. It's exquisitely designed. Examine furniture. Nothing unusual about the furnishings. What else have we? Entrance to the kitchen. Murder is now stalking me. Okay. Examine bottle. Yes. Okay, so it's. Where's Daryl? Gather. What the fuck are you? Oh, I didn't take it. God damn it. Okay. Take bottle. Cool. Gather. No, that's not what I wanted to. Shit, whatever. The instructions for this game are confusing. So door is now locked. Was it Harriet? Accuse Harriet. I don't get it. I don't fucking get it. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. This isn't a game. This isn't a game. This is a job. Have you ever wanted to be a private investigator? Well, you now no longer have to do any of that. You can just play this game. You can play this game, and you will find yourself either frustrated or dead or wrong at pretty much any time. So realistically, what you need to do is you need to have like a notepad or something like that, either open next to the game, you know, on your computer, or just like an actual literal physical notepad, and write down your clues. Write down locations, names, affiliations, items in question, all that stuff. But hey, at least I was able to get to a place. I was able to get to the step where I accuse somebody, which is cool. That's the first time I've been able to do that in an hour and 50 minutes. It took me an hour and 50 minutes to actually be able to do that. Okay, so we're going to retry it. Restart. We're going to restart it. John is dead. John has died. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. Hold on. Give me a second here. Got a little piece of paper. A little piece of paper and a little pen. And I'm just gonna write down the details. So John is dead. John's dead. So it was John, murdered only hours ago. Body was removed by persons unknown from the murder scene. You're now standing at the front door of the Don Levy estate. The door is open. Okay. Step inside. What do we have? Sewing room. Many overstuffed chairs sit in a circle in the center of the room. Reading lamp stands next to one of the chairs. Okay. Sewing room. Okay. Parlor. Entered a parlor. Large sofa sits in the middle of the room. You can see the front lawn through the window. An antique silver teapot sits on a table next to the sofa. Vault. A family vault. Large safe is pushed against the wall. Roll-top desk stands next to the safe. A hammer lies beside the safe. There are many dents on the front of the safe, and William Seton is attempting to pick the lock on the desk. Let's ask this little motherfucker what he's up to. I spent the entire evening alone in the sewing room. Okay, so William alone in sewing room. Assume that I killed John just because I have an alibi, but I've never cared one way or the other about that little manipulator. You'll just have to take my word. Doesn't like John. Okay. Next space. Now in the master bedroom, a Scandinavian bed dominates the room. A teak dresser spans the west wall. A magnifying glass is lying on the floor. Yeah, baby. Take magnifying glass. Sweet. So I now have the magnifying glass. I would love it if you made a better game using nothing but Google Sheets functions and an LED light strip. I'm actually convinced that that could very easily be a way better game than this. You have entered the ballroom. The room is bare except for a bandstand at the west end of the room. A crystal chandelier hangs overhead. A tuba sits unattended next to the bandstand, and Margaret Donlevy is practicing some waltz steps. A little bit strange of a time to be practicing your waltz. Margaret. Search tuba. Slightly dented, otherwise nothing unusual. Let's examine it. Okay, nothing. Examine bandstand. Okay. Let's ask Margaret what's up. Margaret turns to face you and answers, I spent the entire evening with William in the sewing room. Ooh, William says he was alone in the sewing room. But alas, Margaret. Both mortified to hear of John's death. Everyone was getting along so well. I just can't imagine who would have wanted to see John dead. So, Margaret, with Will in sewing room. Okay. Now what? Everyone was getting along so well. I just can't imagine who would have wanted to see John dead. It was probably William. Okay, it was probably your hubbada-bubs, William. You have entered the bathroom. A hot tub occupies one corner of the room. A large mirror covers the east wall. A shattered bottle of shampoo lies on the floor. And Daryl Winston is relaxing in the hot tub. Let's go talk to sexy Daryl, who's relaxing in the hot tub. What's up, Daryl? Daryl replies in an angry voice. I spent the entire evening with Carlotta in the parlor. Okay. Now, could you please leave and let me get back to my work? Hot tubbing is your work? How does one get that job? Oh, that's the job I want. This whole affair has interfered awfully with my schedule. All right now. Well, Daryl says with Carlotta in parlor. Okay. Inspect or examine shampoo. Okay. Examine hot tub. No, I don't have spare time to be doing that. Butler's room. Marble bookend. Examine bookend. It's quite heavy, it says. Super helpful. Examine bookshelf. Okay. All right. Dining hall, long tea table, wet bar, silver serving platter. Examine platter. We found it. Take platter. All right. Let's ask Carlotta. Looks up from the floor and says, Daryl and I spent the entire evening together in the parlor. Ah. So, Carlotta and Daryl, their stories corroborate each other. Together in parlor. Okay. John. No, if you ask me, William is the only person who hated John enough to commit murder. Maybe that's who. Yeah. I'm kind of with you on that one. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so we got one last place to search. This kitchen room is a question. Family seems to place great importance. Yeah, I don't need that. So William says he was alone in the sewing room. I want to say, what the fuck? Serving platter from your hands and cautious you over the head. I guess that wraps up this. Dude. I think I figured it out. I think that. Oh my god, that's so fucking annoying. Because I'm pretty sure that the serving tray was from the ballroom. So I was gonna go into the ballroom and call everybody in and gather everybody. And then call out, oh wait, it was Margaret. I was gonna call out William. Okay. I want you to explain more. I want to understand your motive. All right, I got one more of these in me. All right. All right. John Donlevy was murdered again. Take magnifying glass. Sweet. Let's ask her. I spent the entire evening with Harriet in the sewing room. Sewing room. Hold on, I need a new. I'm gonna write this down. All right, so John is dead. John is dead. Daryl spent the evening with Harriet. In sewing room. Okay. Well, this murder business has given me a splitting headache. All right, cool. Search chairs. Search chairs. Chairs do seem quite innocuous. Search Daryl. Find nothing, of course. Examine snifter. Heavy crystal. Crystal's empty. Family vault. Search. Or examine. Okay. Nothing special. All right. Question. Carlotta in the butler's room. So, okay. So we've got Daryl with Harriet in the sewing room. We've now got Vanessa. With Carlotta. In the butler's room. Okay. Anyone in this house I simply cannot believe that anyone in this house would have the bad taste to commit murder, though I sometimes think that Daryl is capable of almost anything. Dang. Cruel. Entered the ballroom. Wait. Did I need to inspect something in here? Search. Dresser. Dresser's quite modern. Cool, thanks for that. Search broken violin. Okay. Let's question Harriet. Forces a laugh and replies, Daryl and I spent the entire evening together in the sewing room. Okay, alright. Why don't you just cross my name off your silly little suspect list and go pester someone else? No, dude. But, yeah, you're probably in the clear. Entered the bathroom. Hot tub occupies one corner of the room. Large mirror covers a small broken flower pot lies on the floor. Margaret Don Levy seems stunned to see you. Let's ask what's up. I spent the entire evening alone in the vault. But just because I was alone and just because everyone knows I hated John is no reason to single me out. Is it, Inspector? Is it? I don't know. Let's write that down, though. Margaret. Alone in vault. But also kind of hates John. All right. Inspect flower pot. Inspect, or examine. It used to be a standard clay pot. It used to be? What is it no longer? Carlotta Winston is searching. Okay. So Carlotta Winston. Let's ask you, what's up? I spent the entire evening with Vanessa in the butler's room. Now, not one to gossip, but I don't think you could go wrong by looking into Daryl's story. There's one person who won't lose any sleep over John's death. Okay. So Carlotta was with Vanessa in Butler's room, but also blames Daryl. Gotcha. Okay. I find nothing. Dining hall along the examine flask. Must be the murder weapon. Okay. What? I didn't even get to talk to William. Gross. Gross. I apologize. Big apologies. Big apologies for that outburst. This game sucks. This game sucks. Taking down notes and everything. Anyway, well, I'm going to how infuriating. I didn't win that once. I mean, each game takes like maybe 5 minutes to play. 5 to 7 minutes. And I didn't get a single one. That's insane. Like absolutely insane. Well, I guess I guess that's it for me for tonight. That was the time. I didn't hate it actually, you know. It was it's intriguing. It's always interesting to kind of go back and play old games. Even games from like a few years ago, you know, like maybe 10 years ago. Like feel very different. You know, there's always we always make progress in the game world, the gaming world, the video gaming world, and you know we kind of like decide collectively that a certain mechanic is no longer desirable, or that you know a certain mechanic is the standard moving forward. And so like I play. I've got what is it called? Fuck. Oh, what is PlayStation's version of Halo called? Or Killzone. I was playing Killzone Shadowfall on my PlayStation a while back, like a couple months ago. And you know, like the game is like 10 years old, almost 15 years old, something like that. And you can tell you're like, oh, you know, the game doesn't look bad, but it definitely plays like a game from 10 to 15 years ago. And the same applies here. It can be kind of fun to go back and revisit how games played out. And like there's no inventory here to manage, like you can't see anything aside from some lines, a little smiley face, and you know a few lines of text. And that's really all you have to work with, which can be kind of an exciting uh, you know, like an exciting thing to revisit, you know, going back and seeing and experiencing firsthand how we used to play games before we got used to, full inventories and graphical user interfaces and all the stuff that make games, modern games, playable. If you handed this to me with modern graphics as is, I'd be like, what the hell do you want me to do? Nothing. I can do nothing. There is nothing. I mean, it is infuriating. It took me Googling to figure out what I was supposed to do, just because they don't explain it to you. They don't explain it to you, and what little they do explain, they explain pretty poorly. Um, but like, I have other classic games that I want to kind of play on stream in the future, and I'm sure they'll be just the same. A big one that I have that I want to play is Prince of Persia 3D or Arabian Nights Prince of Persia, depending on whether or not it was on PC or Dreamcast. I'm going to try and find a way to emulate that here on my Mac so that I can just stream it. And yeah, I have such rose tinted glasses for that game because it was kind of the game that got me interested in games. It was like the first video game I ever played. Aside from like Mario and Mario Kart and like at somebody else's house, but like the first game that I owned that I tried to play from start to finish was Prince of Persia 3D, and I'd love to revisit that game on stream, on my channel. But I know that like it's gonna be infuriating as hell to play. um, so anyway, I know that there are only a couple of you that even popped in on this stream, but if you did enjoy, please consider hitting that like button, hitting that subscribe button so you don't miss out when I go live or upload a new video, and leaving a comment, sending it out to some friends. And on that note, I wish you a splendid evening, and I will catch you next time.